coming up, but we're going to first do a cold open to highlight her great work.
Georgia passed its voter integrity law in 2021 despite the findings by Republicans that there was no widespread voter fraud in the state of Georgia during the 2020 election, that Joe Biden had legitimately won. They did 3 counts. So shouldn't they be bragging about the security and supremacy of their system? This fight isn't limited to Georgia. This may be the ball game for Donald Trump this time. Reporting in Rolling Stone last week identified nearly 70 pro-Trump election conspiracy theorists across several swing states currently working as county election officials who have questioned the validity of elections or delayed or refused to certify results. According to the nonpartisan group Protect Democracy, since the 2020 election, members of state and local boards have voted against certification more than 20 times across 8 states. Our friend and voting rights attorney Mark Elias puts it like this, quote, with fewer than 100 days until the election, Republicans are building an election subversion war machine. Vice President Harris described herself as the underdog. I mean, I think they're ready for an onslaught of aggressive campaigning from the Trump side. So even though he appears to have none of the momentum today, there seems to be a lot of clarity that he could very well sort of regain some strength and come back. If this is another very, very close election that comes down to thousands, hundreds of votes in a handful of states, what is Trump doing? I mean, why is Trump calling out election board members? Why are they seating these boards? What is their plan? What does that look like?
Yeah, look, I think that their plan is really straightforward. Is if you have a very close election, you know, there are opportunities for the scoreboard keeper, to use the analogy, to decide how quickly they want to put numbers up on the board, how slowly, whether they want to wait and see if the ref sees it a different way, and ultimately maybe get them to put up the wrong score. And so they are seating not just the certification boards. They are seating the frontline workers, the people at the polls, the people at the county offices, the people processing absentee ballots. We need to understand that this is not a one-off situation of 3 bad apples in Georgia. This is a campaign that has been built on how to spoil apples by the bushel. And that is what they are trying to do. They are trying to put election deniers from polling place to Secretary of State and everything in between. So when we celebrate that, look, they weren't able to put an election denier in the Secretary of State's office in Nevada or in Michigan or in Arizona, you know, and we are not necessarily seeing, well, what did they do at the county level? And then what did they do at the sub-county level? What did they do at the municipal level? And their hope is that by placing enough election deniers in the process, they can, in a close election, sway the outcome. But, you know, the fact is that in a presidential election, there are a lot of people watching what they're going to be up to. And I think that the Harris campaign will be more than ready.
Dave Brat in for the great Stephen K. Bannon. Boy, it's just unbelievable listening to the falsehoods from the left coming out about election deniers, et cetera. Of course, it's gaslighting. It's the exact opposite. We believe in fair elections because we believe in our great republic. We also believe in the truth, right? We believe in transparency. We want to shine the light on everything. They're horrified that people are actually going to be in the room watching things. And we have one of our great patriots, and I've just got to meet her. And in 5 seconds, I just love working with the War Room friends. Everyone I meet, you can just tell they're a truth teller in like 3 seconds. And so we have Sally Grubbs with us from Georgia, I think the head of Cobb County. She's got some great news to share with you. And if you want to react, first of all, to that clip, feel free. Welcome to the War Room.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for having me. And I appreciate the work you're doing in Steve's absence. Man, I tell you what, MSNBC really goes to great lengths. I mean, when they have Mark Elias on there, who is talk about election deniers, he is a truth denier. He lives in fantasy land. And the unfortunate part is he's well-funded, and he is attacking good, hardworking Board of Elections folks that we have that are in place. And what kills me is I will read the text to you from the particular rule that he is having a fit about. And it is over talking about certifying an election and what it means to actually certify. We're back in the Bill Clinton days of determining what the definition of is. And so we're talking about what actually certifying means. And keep in mind, you have got these people who are on these election boards that raise their right hand. They swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Georgia in our case. And all they're saying is we need the accurate information to certify. And so this rule that he's having a fit about says, certify the results of a primary election or runoff, or words to that effect, means to attest after reasonable inquiry that the tabulation and canvassing of the election are complete and accurate and are a true accounting of all votes cast in that election. That's all we're talking about. We just want the truth. Let the chips fall where they may. This is not an election denier situation. This is about the truth.
Right. Very good. We got about 30 seconds. Give us a couple hints. You mentioned a couple pieces of good news, and we'll hold you after the break for a couple minutes if you can stay with us.
Sure.
What are the couple pieces of good news you got?
So we've got 2 of our rules passed, and then we have the reopening of the Moncla Rossi complaint from Fulton County, where there's missing ballots, there's missing ballot images that account for many of the votes in Fulton from 2020. That's been referred to the Attorney General's office, and then the board has the ability to hire independent counsel if the Attorney General doesn't act.
Well, Sally, that sounds great. You can explain what that means to all of us lay people, but you look like a great American to me. Are you doing all this within the confines of the Constitution, Sally?
Absolutely, 100%.